and welcome to my channel. This is where we talk about the reading, writing, and general making of books. My name is Mary, and today I'm going to talk to you about my book, specifically the design process that went into making it. But first, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if this is the kind of content you're interested in. And links to purchase or pre-order my book are below in the description, but we'll talk about that later. So, just to give you a background in what I did in the making of this book. So I am the author, so I wrote the book, and I hired an editor to help me edit it. But I did all of the design, so I designed the cover and the interior myself with the help of templates online. But not another human person was involved in helping me with it directly. So what I want to talk to you about today is the cover art and how I designed that. I'm also going to talk to you about the fact that I have two books. This is the IngramSpark book, and this is the Amazon book. And you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but they have two different ISBN situations going on. And they're slightly different books. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and why that's the case and the general thought process that went into making those two different ISBNs. And yeah, so I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to start with the cover because that's a lot of fun to talk about. So this is the final cover, you can see. I'm going to put up on the screen the picture of the very first draft I made of the cover. So you can see that it went through a lot of changes. My original idea was that I kind of wanted it to look like a leather-bound book with like a picture inset into it, but that really wasn't reading well. I was also really concerned with this book looking good in a thumbnail because I hope to do a lot of sales on Kindle, and in Kindle all you see is a little tiny thumbnail, and I really wanted you to be able to read the words on the book even in the thumbnail. Also, a lot of Kindles, well, my Kindle is black and white, so I wanted something that would read somewhat well on that black and white too. I've noticed most covers don't look good in black and white on the Kindle. Self-published, traditional published, it doesn't matter. They usually don't look good in that small size in black and white. So I was really conscious of that. I've looked at this on the Kindle, like they have like a little mock-up of what it will look like on Kindle stores. And it looks all right. You have like a field of black and then the contrast of this bright color and then the figure in black. And then the writing shows up really well. So I'm pretty happy with it in its final design. It wasn't exactly what I had in my head, but it's, I think, a lot better than what I had in my head. I also wanted to show you some of the covers I used as inspiration. So when designing a cover, this is the third. This is the third cover I've designed for a book. The first cover for my book, I designed two other covers for different authors. And this is the first time I've done the fonts and all of that. Before, I've just done the art. So I do the art front and back, and then that person goes ahead and does all of this font stuff themselves. So this is the first one I've done all the way from start to finish by myself. But one of the first things I like to do when designing a cover is really look for something to inspire it. What I'm looking for is a book in the same genre. It's got roughly a similar tone, a similar idea, so that if someone looks at this cover and it reminds them of that book, they're going to make the right connections. I don't want them to think they're going to be getting a book that they're not going to be getting. So for example, my book is a fantasy sci-fi mashup with a very small, it does have a romance subplot, but it's a smaller element to the story. So I would not want this to look like a romance cover. And romance covers have a very distinctive look, so I would want this to look very separate from that. So the two books that I took as my primary inspiration are, this is Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. And if you can look at them side by side, you can see that they have that same, like a window, and then there's fire in the window. And you have like the main character figure right there in the foreground. So there's a lot of similarities. Also a lot of differences. In the original design, I was actually trying to get some of these little elements to work for me also, because I really like the neat lines of this one. But it just didn't work out. It wasn't reading for me. So I got rid of that and simplified a bit. But you can definitely see a similarity between these two books. And although this is straight fantasy, it does have some elements to its world building that kind of have a sci-fi feel to me. So I thought it was a really good match for just having the right feel. I can't really explain what that means because it's not even like the tone or the plot that are similar. It just feels really similar to me. So I used this. It was my first inspiration. And then my second inspiration was Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I hope I said that right. Roanhorse. So this book is, again, more fantasy. There's no sci-fi element to this one. But I use this one as inspiration in that it has the black field with just a pop of color in it. When I was starting on this, I was kind of unsure if I could do this dark of a cover with just the picture in it. And this one really helped me see how another book in the genre made that work. Of course, they've got the shiny ink, which I don't have. But yeah, so that one, it looks less direct as inspiration, but that was definitely a big inspiration for me. You can see it a bit more if you think of just looking at this from the color perspective. So a lot of the color palette in this one is what I drew inspiration on for this one. So those were my two inspiration books, and then this is what happened. So that is where the cover came from. And then the back, you can see, is just drawn from this front cover. So I just took this and blew it up really big so you would have that nice field of color to write on. So now I want to get into a bit of the difference between this, the IngramSpark edition, and the Amazon edition. So what is IngramSpark, first of all? So IngramSpark is a book distributor. It feels very similar in setup to Amazon KDP, but it works very differently after you've done the setup. So you set it up very much the same. Both Amazon KDP and IngramSpark have just a template, a Word template that you can copy and paste your document into. And then you just go through and make sure everything copied over correctly and it looks good. And once you're happy with it, then you approve the interior. And I also have a cover builder tool. I found Amazon's cover builder tool a lot easier to work with, but that's because I had a file on my computer that just had like the flat image that I wanted, and it would just let me upload that and just run with it. Whereas this one, I had to like break it into different parts, and I had to upload those parts separately and then stitch them back together within their cover builder tool. Did not like that. But anyway, so Amazon, IngramSpark. Now the Amazon one will not have this ribbon that says not for resale on it once it hits the market. You just can't buy advanced copies of Amazon, the physical books, before launch day, which is really annoying, which brings me into why I went ahead and did an IngramSpark edition. So IngramSpark is a distributor. They don't have their own bookstore or anything. I think BookBub, something like that. One of their competitors actually has their own bookstore, so the customer can buy directly from them. You can't have a person, like a person comes to you and says, oh, I want to read your book. You can't give them a link to IngramSpark to get this edition. IngramSpark sells to you, the author. They sell to bookstores and they sell to libraries, those sort of big retail places. They don't sell directly to customers. So but the nice thing about IngramSpark is that I can sell directly to customers. So I have a stack of books over there that I can sell to people in person. And then I can take orders on my website, and I can buy the single book and send it directly from the IngramSpark distributor to my customer. So I can act as my own bookstore, but it's not like Amazon where you can just log on to Amazon and buy a book that's been published through KDP like this. So they are slightly different processes. I guess I should explain KDP more directly as well, in case you don't know what that is. So Amazon allows you to sell books directly from them. You can log on to Amazon KDP. I think that's Kindle Direct Publishing, although you can do paperbacks through it now. And my ebook is only available through Amazon because I decided to go with the Kindle Unlimited. So I'll talk about that in another video. But when you're, hit myself in the face. When you log on to Amazon KDP to make a paperback book, you are selling directly to Amazon's customers. So it's really hard for bookstores and libraries and even the individual author to buy copies that they can then go ahead and sell from Amazon. It's really hard to make that work. So Amazon sells directly to the customer, to their customers, and they market it a lot better if you have set up the book through their KDP. So what I decided to do was set up my book on both marketplaces independently, and they have different ISBN numbers. So if you don't know what that is, it's the number above the barcode, or on the Amazon's case below the barcode, and that is the number that identifies your book. So different editions of a book will have different ISBN numbers. Technically, I could have used the same ISBN numbers on both of these, but I did slightly different formatting on these two different editions, so I decided to use different ISBN numbers. The ISBN number on my Amazon book is an Amazon number, so I got it for free, but I can only use it on a book that's published through the Amazon platform. The ISBN number on the IngramSpark edition is my number. I bought it. I can use this number on books that I sell. I own it. Amazon, IngramSpark. Nobody gets to tell me what to do with it. So that's the first difference between these two. The second difference is a little bit subtler. It stands out dramatically to me because I designed the book, but it wouldn't really stand out to most people. So first thing is the spine. So because I was able to directly just upload my cover, the wraparound of picture of the cover to Amazon, I was able to use this fancy font that I found. It was like in a free library for commercial use font. It's the same font that's on the cover. So I have that on the spine of the Amazon book. And I had to just use a normal standard font on the IngramSpark book because their book builder tool was just not cooperating with me. You'll also notice that these have the exact same content, but this book is slightly smaller than this book. And I'll talk to that a bit more when I talk about the interior. And then on the back of the book, you can see there's a slightly different font. Again, it's because I was able to use whatever font I wanted on the Amazon book, and I had to use what was available to me on the book builder tool in IngramSpark. And I think, yeah, the quote there also has a slightly different font. So a whole bunch of slightly different things going on just on the cover that make these two books different. But the biggest difference is what's going on the inside. So I really like both interiors, but they are different. So the Amazon interior is based on my personal reading preferences, and it's less, I feel, probably professional looking, but I like it, and it's my book. So yeah, here's an example page. So what I did is I put the space between paragraphs, which is not standard for published books. And I know it's not standard, but it really helps my eyeballs track through a book more easily. I don't know why that is, but I really, 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 really prefer that break between paragraphs. So I included it on my Amazon edition. Amazon lets you print and just look at proof copies like this just over and over. So I've got samples of it without the break, and I just didn't like it very much, so I decided to put the break in. But that's why this book looks a little bit longer than this book, because the IngramSpark edition is a more standardized interior, so it doesn't have that break between paragraphs. So I have one of each, and it might seem weird, like if I like this more, why didn't I do it in this one? Or if I wanted to look professional, why didn't I do the professional in this one? It was just a case of the way the book builder tools work. I had a lot more freedom with the Amazon interior, so I decided to do something that I like, that I can do because it's self-pub, and that's the nice thing about self-pub is you have all this creative freedom. And then when it came to IngramSpark, it was a case of, it was a lot of hassle to make that happen here, and it wasn't that big of a deal to me, so I decided to just roll with it. And it still looks really good. Like, I'm still happy with this. This is what a chapter start looks like here. Let's see. This is what chapter start looks like here. So they do have different appearance on the interior. They all have the exact same stuff right down to the About the Author page. So, and About the Author on this one. Yeah. They just look different. All of the words are the exact same. It's just a slightly different appearance. And then the ebook is again very much the same. It's based off of the same file as this paperback, but because e-readers allow the reader to format things themselves, it's got a lot less that I just did myself, because each person's e-reader lets them adjust it for themselves. So I didn't feel the need to put too much effort into messing around with things when that would all get erased when it went onto different people's devices. So those are my books, IngramSpark and Amazon. I'm so excited. I just got these today. So I am very excited to have these books. When they are going to launch on October 18th. So when they launch, the paperback will be available on Amazon and the ebook will be available on Amazon. You can already pre-order this edition on my store. It takes about 10 days. So I ordered 10 books from IngramSpark just to see what they look like. And it took 10 days for those 10 books to print and then reach me. So I don't know how long it would take for each individual order. I haven't filled orders to customers yet through IngramSpark. So if you order on my website now, I will probably try to fill the order right away so I can see how long it takes the book to reach you. So if you order through my personal website, there is a chance you could actually get the book before it is officially published, because I'm still messing around with settings and trying to figure things out. So if you want to take that chance, the link in the description will let you buy from my personal website now. It's technically a pre-order. I'm not saying that anything will definitely be received ahead of time, but if you want to give it a try, you want to help me out so that I can sort of play with settings and see how everything is working out, that is an option. So I'll just read you the back blurb so that you can get an idea of what the book is about. High Commander Rin Tallow rules with fire and steel. In the midst of a campaign to exterminate the satyrs from her lands, a small band of rebels infiltrates her camp and assassinate her. The instant before she dies, time stops. Rin wakes up in the far future, taken by time travelers to pay for the atrocities she has committed. She is sentenced to a life of hard labor in the pit of hell. The judgment passed against her actions introduces doubt and a creeping fear that she may have been the horrible villain she is accused of being. She must escape before she is broken by the punishment of hell and the condemnation of her past. But escape isn't easy, and in the process, she learns dark secrets about hell and its hidden true purpose. There is more to hell than just pain and fear. For the first time, Rin is confronted with people who aren't interested in her family and titles. She finds friends and enemies and a woman she might fall in love with. This introspective story follows as Rin navigates a turbulent emotional sea that is just as treacherous as the guards and fires of hell. So if that's something that you would like to read, pre-orders below. You can pre-order the ebook on Amazon, and you can pre-order this edition of the paperback on my personal website. So check that out. Please leave a comment. Any questions you have about IngramSpark versus Amazon, I might do another video dedicated just to that. But if you have any questions about the book setup process in those two, definitely leave them below and I'll answer them. I don't know much about how the anything past setting up the book yet. I don't know how receiving payments works on one versus the other. And I'm not entirely sure on how fulfillment is going to work. So I might hold off on making a comparison video until I've gotten a little bit more experience working with both of them. But if you want to ask questions about the setup process, if you think I should do a video directly about just the setup process of Amazon versus IngramSpark, let me know. If you want any more information about the motivation I had in choosing one and the other and then just deciding to do both, I can make another video about that or just answer questions below, whatever. So yeah, join the conversation.